Oh yeah, in fact.
Oh. How many are in front of you right now?
3.
I have full faith in you.
You shouldn't. Hi, welcome back to Worlds Apart, the bi-weekly world-building podcast where we both threw on dwarven music in the background before hitting record, so that's the vibe for today. How you doing, Odie?
I did it.
Amazing.
It's
perfectly
9 a.m.
timed, too. Yeah, it's...
I'm not going to drink this. It's 9 a.m.
Yeah.
But the tradition is held. I'm good.
Yeah.
It is cold for the first time in Australia in a very long time. I'm able to wear a comfy hoodie, which is a Slut for Law hoodie.
Hell yeah.
We're twinning today, by the way.
Yeah.
But I'm good. I am very excited to record. I've had a lot of ideas this week, so...
Oh my god, I'm stoked. I got the fucking, oh my god, what do you call it? Basically a giant deck of cards, this is not an ad, by the way. It's like a story engine. Massive fucking box the other day to my PO box that was a fuck ton of world building, like cards and lore and prompts and things like that. And I started going through it and it's been so inspiring. It's been great. Also,
I'm so proud of you. This is why we're running a podcast. Is that another prop can?
This one? Yes, yep. I had a can already open of sparkling water because it's also relatively early in the day for me. So now I've got 2 flavors.
We're crushing it.
Oh yeah, in fact.
Oh. How many are in front of you right now?
3. And counting. Fuck, my nails won't work on this one.
You failed.
It's not as crisp. This one's also a Red Bull. Honestly, probably the most necessary one right now.
I think that's one you need. Seeing as you woke up 2 minutes ago? If that? Yep. Cool.
It is 2 p.m., by the way.
It's 9 a.m. for Australians, so we out here loving it. But, yeah, so I think on a day when we're, like, low energy, but we're recording, those cards that you got will come in handy big time. Yeah. It could be also a lot of fun for just one session where you just throw a card up on the camera and we just run it and see what happens. Oh,
or to like get us out of a rut. There are also a bunch that are specific to naming. So like we get really, I was just gonna say we were just talking off air for so long about how bad we are at naming shit. So that'd be a good way to get us out of a rut.
We've basically given ourselves a curfew now on naming shit. We have 30 seconds to figure something out, or we come back to it.
Yep.
So, but speaking on like modules and like cool things to use, last episode we talked about creating monsters. We talked about our big ass hippo boys who can like run through anything, and we created little snake dragon-esque things that slither through vines and cracks in the ground. And then you mentioned, this has been brain rot on my head all week, just so you know. You talked about Heliana's.
I did! Shit, it's in a different room. I should have grabbed it. But Heliana's is so good.
I'm obsessed. I checked it out yesterday, and it's sold out, like the core book. And like the hard copy's there, and I'll probably get it. But I want the set because it looks awesome. But yeah, that's been on my mind all week, and I want it.
Audience, for those who don't know, Heliana's Guide to Monster Hunting is, again, also not sponsored. I just got it in the mail, also to my PO box, also the other day, and it's basically turning D&D into, like, Monster Hunter. You have, like, full-on job board-style quests where you have to figure out what monster you're fighting, track it, hunt it down, kill it, and then harvest it for parts and things like that, and it fits right in with what we were talking about last week.
And we also built, like, a fucking poachers guild in the Sonoma range. That would be... I would like. So good. We could probably run so many one shots with that module.
Oh, yeah. It's all like so perfectly designed for one shots and like.
Oh my god.
Oh, classic D&D. Like just go out, kill something, come back.
Just get some combat horny players and just run it. It would be the best.
Combat horny is wild.
Am I wrong?
No. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Alrighty. Yeah. So what are we up to today? We talked about revisiting some of the other, like, cleaning up the loose ends on the Sundial Mountains a little bit. One thing that I mentioned that we haven't talked about yet very much is Yuga, which was the mountain formerly known as Eugamia, which is the thumb when it comes to the handprint shape of the Sundial Mountains. And it's the cursed, exiled, like, it's the bad neighborhood, you know, where everyone who believes in the mixing of the elements and goes against the primary doctrines of the rest of the Sundial Mountains, they kind of just end up there. And that means that the rest of the mountains kind of shun them. It's considered no man's land. And there are a lot of rumors about it. There's stories about the creatures inside, the people inside, curses if you step foot on that soil, things like that. I kind of want to revisit that a little bit.
Yeah, I'm more than happy to revisit that. Do we want to run it as, like, this is actually a cursed place? Is there some kind of curse, if you will, on the land? Or is it all just speculation, mythology? Like, what happens there?
I feel like it would be a rumor purposefully spread to try and keep people out of there.
Okay.
So, like, it's not actually cursed, but maybe someone just started, especially like the government of the local area of the Sundial Mountains in general, have just started saying like, oh yeah, we don't go there. Like the people who live there are awful, and it's almost like xenophobic against your own mountains in a way, but it's mostly to try and reinforce this doctrine of like, oh yeah, anyone who believes in the elements being mixed and, harmony between the elements and the primordials is bad. And so it's just false rumors.
I forgot how religious we've made, like...
We really have.
Yeah. I forgot how, like, dedicated and religious the Primordians who are in Katomia, the palm, for those who are curious, how deeply connected they are to Kato and their belief system in it. So there's a lot we can put into Yuga as almost like atheist, I guess.
Yeah.
If you want to label it with that. So if the lands aren't cursed, and if it's more of a you shouldn't go there, it's a bad place, you'll die. If you watch the video 7 days later, you're gonna get it, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But what's the community like then?
Oh. I imagine maybe to a degree they're pretty secretive and pretty sheltered. Not necessarily because of any sort of like fear of the outside world or anything like that, but more just like they want to stay under the radar.
Okay.
Because like maybe there's something that's been discovered in Yuga that the rest of the Sundial Mountain Range could potentially want, that they want to keep secret, so that way the rest of the Sundial Mountain Range doesn't come up and crush them in the name of, full-on colonialism or colonization, coming after them for their spices and all that, and then in the process crushing their developing atheism or new religion.
Okay.
So I imagine they're pretty like sheltered almost.
All right. So do you want to have it in the sense like these people believe, or going off what you said, sorry, they found something out about Kato of...
Yeah.
Like, is he the weakest Titan that we have?
Oh, that'd be good. I think that'd be fantastic, especially because, like, typically the concept of Earth is so, like, steadfast and stalwart and strong. The fact that that's actually not true at all, and any of the other elements could come up and crush, like, this, Earth Kingdom type thing.
Yeah.
In a, head-on battle. I think that's fantastic. And it's, like, sacrilegious.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if you think about it, too, like, just in case there are any, like... Avatar: The Last Airbender / Legend of Korra fans here, just know I'm an Earthbender. I love them. It's my favorite element. Don't come for me when I say this. But if you think about it in a sense of singling out each element, the Earth element is stagnant. It doesn't really overcome or overtake anything. If it's there first, great. But fire is all-consuming. Water can surround anything, and air is literally everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So if we think about it in that kind of aspect, it's as if Kato is outnumbered, in a sense.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
That could be interesting to play off. So how do you want this community to run? Like, they realize Kato is the weakest element of all, and they're sort of trying to convince everyone, like, hey, if he works with the others, he'll be stronger.
Yeah. Kind of promoting collaboration, because there's really no other choice. Like, It's either collaboration or war, and we're not going to win that war.
If we wanted to add that into, like, stats, if you will. So, Primordian races, for example, movement speed, we could reduce it by 5 feet.
Oh, yeah. So it's
like if you want to add that element of, like, they're slower, they're more stagnant, they're not as dexterous, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
That could be another element if we wanted to add it. That's going very further down the line. This is just spitballing ideas, but
Yeah, the stereotypical, like, they have more health, like, more constitution, things like that, but they, poison resistance or whatever, but also they're slow as shit.
Yeah.
And not super adaptable, not super, like, creative in
Can't
general. Can't swim. Just fucking, yeah.
Fucking heavy. But we can run with that, because having the concept of Yuga being this place of, like, we want people to get along. We don't understand why it's such a bad thing. Could be an element.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay.
So then, would they have, assuming that it's like its own splintered off culture, how would Yuga be run? Like, as far as governmental structure goes, especially when it comes to, like, collaborative sort of, collaboration being the core of their culture.
Okay. Let's run it back to sort of the start of it then. Who came to Yugmia first? What was the break at Kitomia where these people were like, well, we're leaving then, or you have to get out? Was there a group who were like, fuck this, we're going, and then they found Yugmia, or were they shunned and sent out? Because if there was a core group who had a definitive leader or a group of leaders or whatever, could run it like that.
I think that'd be stellar. Kind of like the same way that I hate to go back to D&D all the time, but that's what I know best. In D&D, how the Gith kind of split apart, and each like fracture of main Gith society was named after their leaders and the ones who led them away, as they were colonizing a new area. Or if you go into Skyrim lore or Elder Scrolls lore, right, Hammerfell is full on just named Hammerfell because some splinter group of some race somewhere decided to throw a hammer, and wherever it landed, that's where they would colonize. So I think that sort of like, a splinter group coming off and becoming its own thing and is presumed dead by the rest of society. And maybe that splinter group is okay being thought of as dead for their own safety and their own sort of stealth. I think that's a good way to go.
So it's believed this group left and were just killed by everything in the wild region of the range. Yeah. But when in actual fact they managed to Yugmia and are like flourishing there.
So we could say maybe like the myth, the lore is that like the rest of the Sundial Mountains say like, oh, that's the reason we don't go near Yugami anymore. That's why it's been shunned and renamed to Yuga, is because, this splinter group, we cared about them. Really, we did. They went in that direction and they never came back. So clearly it's cursed. When in reality, there's no evidence that they ever died. They would just prefer to believe that they died.
I had an idea.
I saw you have that idea.
Sorry.
The light bulb went on.
The idea you just had of like they went there and never came back, so they're presumed dead. We could say that they sent a search party out, or like people who have traveled near that area hear voices and sounds and believed it is cursed ghost lands and it's the voices of the traders and all this kind of stuff. When in actual fact, what if the people of Yugamia are just like purposely like heard these rumors and have adapted to a stealthy lifestyle in which they scare people away?
Yeah. Oh, I like that. Where it's full on like Kevin McAllister just throwing a party for himself in his house.
Absolutely. Because
I love that.
They could also like if they specialize in stealth, when people are camping in the areas, they could listen in on conversations. Because if they're like, no, we just wanted to get away and like live, they could be like, okay, these people, we'll let them get a bit closer and see if they could adapt to our lifestyle. But if they're like, yeah, we're looking for the lost treasures of Yugamia because apparently people died there so many years ago, bro.
I love how they went full surfer bro. Like, that's canon.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone talks like this. Welcome to Yugamia.
Oh, God.
Sorry, I hate myself. But yeah, people who are traveling there looking for like secrets or to recover lost whatevers due to rumors and myths over the years, they could scare them off with ghost sightings or scary voices or anything like that. When in actual fact, everyone in Yugamia is just really nice. Just having a good time.
So maybe then their knowledge of like other elements and their ability to use, magical items or magic or, skills that were taught to them by other cultures is what they use to kind of scare people off. And the other primordians of the Sundial Mountains have no experience with it because they've been so sheltered and so like in their own element, literally and figuratively, that they just like perceive it as ghosts or shadows or shades or evil. When in reality, it's just other cultures.
Yeah. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh man.
So what's the living situation for these guys then? Are they like, did they burrow into the mountains? Have they begun to build buildings? Are they in tents? Or do they just sort of like treehouse shit and just live in the trees?
I feel like anything that's super visible from ground level probably wouldn't be the best idea. Or maybe like, because the rest of the societies across the Sundown Mountains already built into the mountain. So doing the same sort of thing might be a little bit too obvious.
Okay.
So maybe treetop type stuff makes sense.
We want to build a treetop town?
A treetop down. And maybe there's like an entrance to like a hidden spring underground or some aquifer that they also tend to use, and maybe that running water is inherently like kind of a turn off for anyone who were to come looking for them. So maybe there's like underground rivers they use to border their little encampments with and things like that.
That would be really cool.
Yeah. I imagine they'd be pretty spread out though. So instead of being like clustered around the mountain itself, they have a series of camps in a perimeter around it.
Okay.
So that way it's not super obvious and super easy to find them.
Yeah. Are they connected through like bridges through the trees, or are they like swinging like Tarzan and George of the Jungle to?
Maybe they have mounts, flying mounts.
Okay.
Is that too obvious? Too easy to see? It might be too easy to see.
It might be a bit too easy to see. It also depends on the density of the jungle that we have them in, because by the sounds of it, they're like at the base of Yuga.
Mm-hmm.
So, I guess it depends on what the mount is.
Because we already talked about... This is hard. How do they get around? I think treetop bridges and like treetop swings and things like that make sense. Or maybe they have some sort of like Attack on Titan method of sailing through the air just by themselves. But still,
they got the belt that
stealthy.
shoots the fucking that would be awesome.
Not that I've ever seen Attack on Titan, but
Yeah, would recommend. It is a good watch.
Oh, okay, good to know.
I mean, they could also, if they're adapting to other elements, I mean, they probably feel comfortable walking around. If they're
That's
quick
true.
and easy to hide, they probably wouldn't mind just walking.
Mm-hmm.
But in their little clusters, since they're so spread out, they walk to get to the other clusters, but those clusters themselves are connected by bridges and ropes and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah,
makes it easier. Makes it easier to traverse when there, but getting there, you got to brave it.
Mm-hmm.
So.
That'd be cool. Maybe they have like a full-on... So then what are their combat tactics? Like, what do they do when they actually encounter a scouting party from the main range, the main Sundown Mountains?
I think they're kind of like scouts. Like, they send out scouts who are quick and silent, who do sort of recon on people. And then I don't think these people are really like kill everything on sight, you know?
Yeah, no. They don't have the numbers for that.
No, they would not. They're probably... That's actually a great question. How big's their population, you reckon?
Oh, it's probably like relatively small. Like one of those things where everyone kind of knows each other or knows of someone who's a brother or sister or a sibling of someone who knows someone. So it's like everyone is 1 degree removed from each other. I'd say maybe down to like 200 people.
Okay, we can run with that. So if it's that small of a community, they're not fighters. They're
Like skirmishers?
yeah, kind of. Like they will isolate to if they need to fight, they will isolate person by person.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like you've seen like memes in movies how like the one person's walking a bit too far behind and he gets hooked under the arms and lifted up into the trees, kind of things, right?
No.
It's like in every spy movie. Like one guard will be walking a bit further behind than the rest, and he'll just get like scooped up or taken out, or
like chloroformed and yanked into an alley.
Exactly,
that sort
like
of thing.
bag thrown over her head and just pulled out of frame, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of
I
stuff.
like that.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. I think you're right. Skirmishes would be great. How do you think these people live?
Ooh.
Like,
Well,
it'd
have to be down to like... Oh, sorry?
Sorry. 2 minutes. Apologies. But how did you want these people to be led? Like, what do you think should run on this?
I feel like whoever led the original group kind of like passes down the crown to whoever they believe to be the wisest in the village, or the villages. And then perhaps they do this thing where when you become like the leader of Yuga, you have to go to all of the little like outlying villages, introduce yourself, say hi, learn about their plights, and then almost like continuously cycle around, like move from village to village all the time, solving their problems, talking to them, keeping them in touch with each other, things like that. So it's not like a monarchy in that it's passed down through bloodlines or anything, but more just like whoever's in charge chooses their successor, related or not.
Okay, so it's just like, I think whoever's the leader is like, I think you're a good person, and I think you could do this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do love the idea of like a forever moving, for lack of a better word, king who's just like constantly bouncing around each commune, like just helping, like a wisp, if you will.
Which also makes him a moving target if the rest of the mountain range were to realize that he exists and that he's their leader.
Just as one random entity that's passing constantly through this cursed land. Yeah. I love that concept. That is a really cool concept, actually, dude. Okay. So we have their leader, who is basically like a wisp passing through commune to commune. We have their skirmishers, so they're not fighters. They're more scavengers and scouts.
I think so, yeah. Like, guerrilla warfare would have to be their tactic if they ended up getting into a skirmish.
Right.
But running would probably be plan A.
Okay. All right, so we've got that sort of... You mentioned something about the mountain.
Yes.
You wanted to have like a river or something on the inside of it, you mentioned?
I feel like anything that was like super prized and wouldn't be worth keeping above ground would be kept underground, but also in a way they would have to make sure that it was defensible in some manner. And since they have at least a little bit of affinity towards the other elements, having an area surrounded by a natural river or being able to carve out like an existing aquifer to make it like a moat almost around whatever their more prized possessions are.
Okay.
That might be a solid way to like still defend themselves a little bit, but have every village be equidistant to some important thing, like rare gemstones or, some magic item or sacred knowledge or something like that.
Ooh. So these people are about collaboration and working together and adding elements together to make something beautiful in a sense. What if Sorry, my cat is attacking under my bed. Apologies. It's Turnip.
Turnip! We love Turnip.
The
boy,
the baby. But what if they have like an arcane forge?
Ooh. That'd be cool, and then that would bring in the fire element a little bit that we haven't really touched on.
It would bring in every element.
True.
So what if
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah. What if they found like the perfect place to create a forge, and these people, the Wisp or whatever we want to call him, the leader, finds people in all these communities who are talented blacksmiths, and they create magical weapons in this forge.
Mm-hmm. Oh my god, Turnip.
Give me
the man is going crazy.
Can I help you?
A special guest star of the week.
Ladies and come here. Let me grab you. Don't attack me. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Turnip, by the way. This is the boy. This is the best boy.
My goodness. He's so cute.
He's okay. Thank you, Turnip. Go zoom somewhere else, please.
Well done. Well done.
But yeah, they could have like an arcane forge, or they could just be like craftsmen. Yeah.
Like expert craftsmen, if anything. Like the best in the Sundial Mountains are found in Yuga, but like
no one knows.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay. I also got an idea, which is kind of like a tangent.
Hit me. Go on a tangent.
the Wisp has to like finish their initial pilgrimage, like their initial circle around the mountain at the forge, and then some secret thing happens. You know, they get the knowledge of the four elements kind of passed down to them there at that site before they're dubbed the Wisp of Yuga. What if the Wisp of Yuga is like a fucking tale that they tell in the rest of the Sundial Mountains, and no one knows that it's like their monarch, their king, like a man, like everyone thinks it's some big supernatural creature. And then you go there and it's like, oh yeah, the Wisp is just a dude.
Oh, that's Mark. That's actually awesome. Are we gonna call him the Wisp? Is that like...
I like that. I'm stuck in that now because it's
Perfect.
like, oh, it's like supernatural too. It's like spooky.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Hi. Oh my God. Okay.
What's he doing?
Sorry,
oh, no.
he's full zooms right now. Is he
really?
screaming? Can you hear him screaming if he does? No, we're fine. Okay.
Nah.
Apologies, viewers. Okay, so he does his pilgrimage. He introduces himself, fixes problems. What does he forge, or what does he do at this last place? What's your kind of idea of this passing down of elements or knowledge implication, or what are you feeling?
Okay.
Let the
Hear
ramble
me
out. Go crazy.
So, you know how usually a monarch will pass down a crown or something like that? Mm-hmm. What if it's not a crown, but like a bracelet or like a series of concentric rings or something like that, or some sort of metal that is inherently difficult to find, and then every new Wisp will add something to it. Some like rune gets embedded in it, or some symbol, or like their signature, something like that.
Like a charm bracelet?
Almost like a charm bracelet, I guess.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
But then that begs the question, how many Wisps have there been? Like, how old is this society that we're talking about?
I mean, it depends. I'm assuming this group is majority Primordians, if not all Primordians. How long do we want to say Primordians live for?
Ooh, probably a good amount of time. Like, probably like centuries, I'd imagine.
Like Elven level? For
I think so.
a basic stereotype?
Yeah, I would go like 700 plus.
Damn. They old.
They're very old, ancient.
Well, depend. Have we decided what year this world is in when we're going to start these games? Like, how long has it been since? Because if
since
we're
like creation,
if we're present now, for example, how long has it been? Like, how many years? Have we decided that yet?
I don't think we have.
Okay, so we won't run that then. We'll just we won't overwhelm ourselves right now, Diana.
It's like when you fucking read an Elder Scroll, you start to go blind with all the fucking information.
Oh,
that's like,
God.
I'm seeing timelines now and I don't like it.
Well, if Primordians live for 700 years, there'd probably be, hypothetically, have only been 2, maybe 3, if they live for that long. Because I can imagine we're not going to say our world is like 20,000 million years.
Fuck no. I do not want to build 20,000 million years worth of lore. I'm
God,
a slut for lore. I'm not that big of a slut for lore.
Okay.
Hashtag merch.
Buy it. All right. So we'll go with the premise that we've had 2, we'll say.
Cool.
Okay. So there's 2 charms on the bracelet right now.
I love how canonically we're going with charm bracelet.
Yeah, fuck it. We'll run with it.
On.
Because if the bracelet gets too chunky, they can just turn it into a necklace. It's fine.
True.
We'll run with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then after that, it becomes a nice, like, what do they call those? A belly chain. And then after that, it just becomes like an actual chain.
And
then we
so many
tie
centuries,
2 swords to the end.
In so many centuries and millennia, it turns into a full suit of armor.
Oh man,
Yeah.
that'd be cool.
That would be ancient. That fucking piece of armor. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Okay. What does that symbolize, though? Does this bracelet give them any abilities? Is it magical? It was it the first thing to be created with this stuff, or
Maybe it's just like the first one that the original Wisp came into Yuga with, like their leader, their guide, and then it just got passed down. I would say it's more a status symbol than anything. I don't know if it inherently has magical abilities, but at the same time, if they go down to this magical forge and start imbuing it with magics, maybe it gets like a new enchantment on it with every passing of the generations.
that could be really cool. It could also be if it's a bracelet, it could be... Sir! Calm down. My God.
This man.
Sorry. Again, viewers who aren't watching on YouTube, my cat is fucking psychotic. It could be like a really beautifully designed bracelet that like sort of mixes all the elements together as well.
Yeah. Maybe it like has a different like a couple of gemstones on it, one representing each element in a way.
Yeah.
The 4 colors.
Yeah. Something simple but like beautifully crafted.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely a symbol of status. Okay. So what is the tail of the wisp? What do we want to...
Oh.
Since we're both sluts for lore and for horror,
Mm-hmm.
what kind of tale of the wisp do we want this to be? And you have to write a shanty for it. And then perform it live
no. Oh God,
on the
a
podcast.
shanty. I can't.
At the end of this episode, you have to sing the shanty.
I'm not yes-anding that.
Come on!
I would rather quit.
Honestly valid.
I would say that, like... Oh, man, I got distracted by the concept of shanties now. Fuck.
Sorry, I didn't mean... That was...
So I would imagine that maybe it's considered... what if we take, like, full-on, like, a Wendigo type, like, adaptation?
Okay, elaborate.
Something along the lines of it being a consuming spirit. Something that just full-on, like, eats primordians and, you know, converts them into shades, or, like, you know, that then haunt Yuga and the mountain itself. Maybe it's, like, considered cannibalistic or something like that. Supernatural in a way.
Well, if you're made of stone,
Mm-hmm.
the last thing you want to do is, like, stop, right? Or be petrified.
Uh-huh.
So what if the wisp makes you permanent stone?
Oh, so that means that the people who live in Yuga would put like little petrified statues of. Oh my God, that's a good idea.
Like they've just carved statues of random people and placed them all around the area as
Scare
like a
off.
warning. If you, yeah, exactly.
Uh-huh.
As,
It like shunts their soul. We can say that the wisp like severs your soul from your body, leaves your body petrified behind, and then the shadows, your spirits, your shade, your soul, whatever, haunts the nearby forests and the nearby mountain,
yeah,
causing like little rustling through the trees every now and then, like shadows to jump out at you, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Which is actually just the Yuga
community.
citizens.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh.
that would be. And I love the concept of like walking through a forest or a jungle and then just randomly seeing a petrified statue.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what the fuck is that? Like,
It would scare the shit out of me.
yeah. Okay, so the tale of the wisp is long ago in the city of Katomia, sorry. A group of defilers left, believing that Kato wasn't strong enough, and they traveled. I think it's west on the map, or maybe east. Yeah. It's one of those directions.
West or maybe east.
Maybe it's one of them.
Yeah.
They traveled a direction and were lost. We sent people out to look for them and came across petrified bodies of primordians. And then we heard whispers and rustling and shadows. And it said, whoever goes there, the wisp consumes your soul. And your body is left behind as a warning for those who step onto the lands of Yuga. Become stone.
Excellent.
Forever and always.
10 out of 10.
Yeah.
I'm going to need that as a sea shanty, though, so, you know, if you wouldn't mind.
There once was a wisp who was real wispy. I don't know.
Well done.
I'm not a singer. I never claimed to be a singer. Okay.
Shit. That's a lot. That's a decent amount.
Yeah. Okay, so did we want this last area where the bracelet is handed down? Did we want that to be like a forge? Did we want it to be like a sacred area? Did we decide what we wanted to do with that?
I think both. I think the concept of it being a forge is a really good idea because, like you said, it mixes all the elements.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Maybe there's like a quote unquote master of each of the four elements there that like helps keep the forge running. And then they're like almost this sort of council. And so maybe the Wisp has to meet with them at the end of its journey or her journey or their journey before upgrading the charm bracelet.
Question.
Yeah.
Are there other elemental primordians there?
I imagine that would be the only, like, in the interest of the elements mixing, right? I imagine there's got to be some people in each of the other Primordian societies who would be down for that. I don't know if they're necessarily as shunned. Maybe the Earth Primordians are the most, like, xenophobic. And so the rest of the elements are, like, trying to get them to be a decent, culture, trying to get them to, like, trade and engage in, like, commerce and knowledge share and things like that. And they're not able to do it, but they see that Yuga and the people in Yuga are willing. And so they send like a scout or like an emissary to Yuga to help inform the Earth Primordians on their cultures, and then in hopes that it'll spread one day to the rest of the Sundown Mountain.
That could actually add a really cool political-esque thing, because depending how many years into the present we are, if they've been like helping Yuga out for a long time, it could get to the point of frustration where they're like, you see it work and you won't let us go and talk to Katomia.
Mm-hmm.
Why? So it could add that element of political, I guess,
yeah.
or a storyline along that sense of an ambassador from the fire element, for example, is like, we have helped you create this forge. You have been here for 2,000 years, and we have been begging you for the past however long to take us to Katomia. Because maybe they can't get there.
Yeah, they wouldn't make it very far.
No. So that could add that element of collaboration and frustration to it as well. Could work. What are you thinking? I saw your eyes go wide.
Yeah, because in my listening to Dwarven music, there's like a bit of album cover that just showed up that showed off like angels and demons and things like that. And I was like, damn, what would an Earth Elemental's angel look like? So it was just a wild like tangent in my head.
Oh no.
Yeah.
What would that look like?
So can you imagine?
Just
what?
Are there we have descendants of Kato, but are there like divine descendants of Kato
who
are like primordian children in a sense?
Like almost like demigods or like,
Yeah.
Uh-huh. I think so. And they're probably really opposed to Yuga's existence. So maybe like that's the one thing where the Yuga, citizens will just not fuck with them at all.
Okay. So, well, where is Kato currently? Is he just like having a nap somewhere? What's he doing?
I imagine he's probably like buried deep within like Katomia.
Okay.
Somewhere. Maybe he's at like avatar form, is sleeping
down below
under there.
Yeah.
Kaiju style, yeah.
Okay. So I guess what I'm asking is, what's the scale of these demigods of Kato? Are they like titans where they're like huge? Or are they like humanoid-esque size, but they're just super strong? Like, what kind of vibe you want with them?
I feel like they would be giant scale. Not like crazy huge, not like the size of mountains or anything, but like big, like bigger than normal human. Maybe like a Fomorian scale, Like,
okay. So you can tell they're demigods, basically.
Yes, yeah.
How do they come about?
Ooh, maybe the pressure deep within the Earth's core. Almost the same way that like coal turns into diamonds under pressure.
Okay.
Maybe something about like Kato has some sort of like in his resting place, right? Deep within Katomia. Maybe there's some sort of like vein of minerals or whatever that is considered like the birthplace of these demigods. And they just come to form and almost crawl their way out of the earth once every so often, every like 5 centuries or something like that. Like a new one is born.
And do they just wander the region and just walk around?
I imagine they're almost like, yeah, they just kind of like observe in a very like be not afraid sort of angelic sort of sense.
Okay.
But also they're considered the divine emissary, not emissaries of Kato, but more like enforcers,
Okay.
So if something is a drastic affront to like Kato himself, you know, then they appear and just like wreak havoc in the area in order to restore order.
So if you see them, it's kind of like a sign something bad's going on.
Yeah, like they inflict fear upon sight, and it's like, okay, please don't turn your gaze on me, you know, almost instantly provoking reverence,
Okay.
so that way you don't end up on their bad side.
Okay. So with the kind of like, please don't turn your gaze on me, are things just like non-existent to them unless they're looking for them? So like if you came across one and he was just walking, he would not pay attention to you and would just keep walking if he wasn't looking for you in a sense.
Yeah, in a sense, yeah. And then like everyone else would be like bowing their head and like muttering prayers to Kato and like, you know, full on like showing reverence on the streets, stopping whatever they're doing, like whispering prayers, and then it just like wouldn't even bother to make eye contact. It's just going about its business. Which might just be wandering. It might just be on like a fully like
it's just going for
just existing.
Just having a good time, going for a little walk.
Yeah, exactly.
Silly mental health.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What do they look like? If you want to lean into the more divine angelic side of things, how do you want these things to look?
That's what I was thinking about, because usually when you think angels, you think wings, right? And these things are so tied to the earth that they wouldn't have wings, but maybe instead they have like, oh my gosh, maybe they're held aloft by, you know how Doc Ock has those like appendages that like move it about almost spider octopus style? Maybe they do that, where instead of walking, they just have little protrusions from their back that stab into the ground. And that's how they hold themselves.
Like rock protrusions?
Like rock protrusions. Like, yeah.
Oh my god. That would be the most terrifying fucking thing to see.
Yeah. And then it like just passes over you.
Can you imagine being caught under that?
Yeah. Yep.
It's holy motherfuck. Like, I love that. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So they've got these appendages that Doc Ock it, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
What's their body and shape look like though? Do you want because if they're like giant size and they're being lugged around on like six arms, is there like an avatar's form? Are they humanoid looking? And do you want them like big and bulky?
I feel like they would have to be pretty big and bulky, and like you can interpret it as muscle, but they're made of rock or like diamond or something. What are they made of? What would you say?
Well, it's like a really hardy stone, like one of the most. What's a borderline unbreakable stone? I know that's like near impossible. I'm not gonna say diamond.
Outside of diamond?
Yeah, because I feel like dude, what if the poachers are trying to hunt these things?
Oh, fully going after the fucking Angels of Kato? That'd be ballsy as shit.
Dude, Helianas would have a field day.
So I'm looking up the hardest minerals, and obviously diamond is top of the list. And then the second one that Google is telling me is corundum. Corundum, which is described as like a naturally clear and transparent rock. Can you imagine like a fucking statue made out of what looks like quartz?
That's fucking What the fuck?
Yeah. Just like passing overhead. The light refracting through it would look so cool too.
Dude, I love that. Yes, I'm so for that. Holy shit, that would... Can you imagine just coming across one of those things?
It'd be insane. It would be like the stuff of legend. It looks like by default, a lot of the corundum I'm seeing is pinkish as well. There's also what looks like different varieties. There's like bluish ones. So maybe each angel is identifiable by like the slight tint that it has, the slight color that it has.
Okay. Got it. I just have the image in my head of like in a jungle with light rays coming through the tops of the canopies and this thing moving, and you just see these beams of light ricocheting off of it, creating these... Oh! I want to fight this thing.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
It's like, Oh my God. And then having, maybe people have like little bits of quartz and like light reflecting stone hung up in the windows of their house so that it casts, like, it scatters the light in certain ways. And that's considered like
A good
almost like a good omen. Like, you know, you're asking Kato and his angels to like bless your house, things like that. Which, granted, all I'm thinking about is like the really earthy sort of like sun catchers that people have in their homes here in Oregon, where it's like teardrop shaped bits of glass that reflect light and make rainbows everywhere. Same vibe, I would say.
Dude, that would be so pretty though. Like if you walk through, if everyone had those things in their windows or on their door frames or whatever, and at sunset the light just reflects off all of them, and the entire street is just like a rainbow.
Yeah. Oh man, and imagine like growing up and like hearing all these stories about these angelic demigod beings that are like glittery and shiny and made of, you know, clear quartz or like slightly tinted quartz type rocks, and you grow up surrounded by rainbows and you're like, oh, they must be so pretty to behold, and then they actually show up and then you're like,
what the actual fuck?
Yeah, I love that sort of shit.
Okay. So they're made of what was it pronounced, sorry?
Corundum. I think.
Corundum.
That sounds tough.
So they have the appendages, do we want to say 6 that are holding them up?
6 sounds good. That gives us a good like earthy vibe.
What's their physical form? Like the body?
Oh, yeah.
Did you want them to be like... Because you mentioned them being bigger and bulkier, because they're made of corundum. Did you want them to have like humanoid-esque features? Did you want them to be lean towards the more like biblical angelic, where it's like a stone head that has like 6 gems kind of embedded into it? Like
That's
what kind
a
of
good idea.
Yeah?
Yeah, and maybe they have like because all of the different primordial kingdoms have like a handprint as their like symbol, right? They're all shaped like handprints. Maybe they have a handprint on their chest or where their chest would be, and it like you can see straight through that handprint, like it's like a cavity that they have or something.
Oh, that would be like an indentation in their chest? Fuck yeah. Okay. So if he's corundum, what kind of, and he's quartz-esque and like clear, does he have 6 of the gems?
I think so, and I think, should they be like green? Like, that's always the symbolic color of Earth.
Well, that's what I was about to ask. Like, what kind of gems do you want these to be? Do you want them to be multicolored? Are they set in a certain way? Are all his children made of corundum, or are they different types of stone?
I think they're all made of corundum, but maybe their like appendages are tipped in different materials or something like that. So like,
oh my God.
And so like towards the end of their arms or whatever, it's like tinted a different color. It's covered in a different stone, almost like a sheath that they build themselves. And each one is, you know, every different angel has a different stone that they use, and so that's how you.
Dude, some of the because like fighting them, like some of them could have like a pointed like tip at their.
Of just like obsidian,
at their appendage of obsidian, or others have just like a fucking boulder at the end of it made of like something else. Some of them have like, what are, you know, those super jagged rocks that are like you lightly put your foot on it and like it hurts kind of thing. Like, I don't know the type of rock it is, but like just really jagged stone and rock that you usually find on like cliff sides and all that kind of stuff. Like made of that kind of thing. Like if it stabbed you, it's like a barb, so it would be like embedded and you're instantly grappled kind of thing.
Oh, this is so scary. I love it.
Yeah.
So they all have like different fighting styles.
Yeah.
And like,
how quick do they move?
Probably really slowly, I would imagine. Okay. Like even more slowly than the Primordian. Well, because they're fucking huge, right?
Yeah.
So pretty slowly, I would say.
And they're just wandering?
Mm-hmm. Just on patrol.
Okay. So how often do these things come around, did you say?
I would say like maybe a new one is quote unquote born once every 500 years or something like that. Like it fights its way out of the earth. And maybe not all of them do. And maybe if one doesn't, then it's like a big deal for their religion.
Okay. Interesting. God, I want to run an encounter with one of these things. He sounds like a beast.
Yeah.
God. Okay. All right. Well, we're coming to the end of the recording. We're almost an hour in already. That went fucking quick.
Oh man.
So how about a quick rundown of what we've come up with, just so we have everything sort
Yeah.
of there.
Cool. Oh, sorry. Did you want to do it? Or
No,
should I
you
do
go.
it?
You go.
Oh man. Okay. Cool.
Get it, girl.
I love a good info dump. So we have basically fleshed out the forbidden castaway mountain of Yuga, which used to be known as Eugamia. Yuga is the place where all of the exiles who, Primordians who believe in the mingling of the elements, who believe in a progressive sort of like mix of cultures, have been functionally, this is where they collect to be safe in their beliefs away from the rest of the society of the Sundown Mountains. In Yuga, there are a series of villages and like little camps scattered around the central mountain itself that are kind of like in the treetops. They're relatively small, relatively scattered, and maybe the entire population of Yuga is maybe 400 people. However, at the heart of Yuga, underneath the mountain, surrounded by an underground river, is a magical forge that harnesses all four of the elements. And each of the elements has its own little elemental master who serves as this advisor to Yuga and as like a driving force in trying to get this progressive mingling of elements further into the culture of the Sundown Mountains from the inside out. Now, the leader in Yuga is known as the Wisp of Yuga, and it's a title that's passed down not through hereditary means, but instead just the old Wisp, as they're dying, names the successor. And as they name the successor, they pass on a almost like charm bracelet that is still wild, by the way.
Pretty. It's so pretty.
It's gorgeous. It's like very stylish, goes with everything. That is a symbol of their office. And every new Wisp, once they're given their title, has to go to each of the like sub-kingdoms of Yuga, visit with all of their people, go down to the forge at the heart of Yuga, and then consult with the elemental masters there, and then add a new charm to the bracelet in order to signify that they have taken up the mantle and to leave something behind for the next Wisp. Then they continue going around in circles around Yuga, just traveling from village to village, so they never stay in one place for super long, because in general, Yuga is super secretive. They're they engage in like guerrilla tactics, they're very stealthy, they want to stay under the radar of the rest of the Sundown Mountains, because they don't really have the firepower to withstand a full invasion.
Absolutely not. 200 people? Nah.
Fuck that. But the rest of the Sundown Mountain Range doesn't really mind Yuga's existence. In fact, a long time ago when Yuga was first established, back when it was Eugamia, it was because this fraction, this fracted out, fragmented? Fragment.
There you go.
This fragment of their society went out and disappeared into the general direction of Yuga and never returned. And when they sent a search party out after them to see what had become of them, they came across petrified statues in their exact likeness and started to hear whispers in the surrounding trees. The shadows started to move oddly, and they turned tail and left. And from here on out, the entirety of the Sundown Mountain Range believes Yuga to be haunted by some creature known as the Wisp that petrifies anyone who wanders into its territory. It severs your soul from your body and leaves your body behind as a statue while your soul begins to haunt the local area and causes shadows to move strangely and can hunt your ass down, essentially.
Fuck, that's cool, man.
Most of society stays away. No, it's fantastic. Do you want to go into like the angels?
Sure. One of the... God, did we say that sorry, real quick side tangent. Did we say that the angels despise Yuga? Did we say
they
that?
would if they knew it existed?
Okay.
They're really difficult to communicate with, and like as of right now, it's only 200, 400 people. It's probably beneath Kato's radar, and they haven't wandered into that area yet.
Okay, cool.
I don't know.
Good to know. So, with the angels, the descendants of Kato, the demigods, if you will, these are 6-armed creatures that were born beneath Katomia over 500 years. Due to the pressure and immense intensity or mineral vein that Kato passed to them, they were able to burrow their way out of the ground and begin to wander the plains of the Sundown Mountain Range. These creatures are seen as children of Kato and revered within the city of Katomia by hanging quartz glass-like charms in windows and doorways so that light can reflect off of them as a symbol of belief and love and trust in Kato and his children. These angels will wander the regions, and if they are led to believe that something is endangering or harming or anything along those lines of Kato, they will hunt it down and fix it and restore the natural area, I guess you can say. These things are rarely seen and are revered as both beautiful and terrifying. And you just do not want to be on their bad side for the love of God. Gods of Kato. Depends who you want to live. Yeah. That's that. Have I covered everything when it comes to the angels? Did I miss anything?
I think so. I think they are just so cool.
They are.
The physicality of them, the different weapons.
Yes, so each angel, depending on how many they are, we have not yet decided, each angel has 6 appendices sprouting from their backs. And the tips of those, each angel has decided or been blessed with a different type of stone. Some being obsidian, others being granite or marble, or some using giant boulders at the end of their appendages to warn, kill, traverse. All of them have their own unique adaptability since being pushed out of the earth. And all of them could kill you. Just so you know.
There are so many cool quest ideas that could come of this. Like, what happens if all the angels suddenly start converging on one location and it's like they're all migrating and that's never happened before? Or maybe like we said before, like what happens if one is supposed to be born at a 500-year mark and then it never emerges from the ground? Then people are wondering like, holy shit, what happened? Is it okay? Is this a bad sign for the religion? Like, there's a whole thing where it's like, what happens if one dies? Like, do people start to harvest its body? Or does it like go off to die in the middle of the earth somewhere? Do people then go try and find it afterwards? Like,
harvest it or whatever.
And harvest it. Oh, there's so many cool ideas.
Can you imagine the magical weapons that could come out of a fucking demigod's body?
Yeah. Oh, God. That'd be so sick.
Jesus. Crazy.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, shit. We're out of time.
We're out of time. Okay, we need to stop. But thank you guys for watching. We hope you enjoyed this episode this week. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time. Diana, where can they find you?
Hi, I'm Diana Faye, also known as Diana of the Rose. I'm a tabletop gaming content creator, streamer, YouTuber, panelist, actual play performer, live play performer, model, consultant, and generally, I just hang around. I just do shit. You can find me as @Diana the Rose. And world builder and podcast host, I guess now I can say that. Yeah! But you can find me as @Diana the Rose on all platforms, ever, all the places.
Hell yeah.
What about you?
My name is Odinn. You can find me @Odinn_son on basically every single platform that you're looking me for, except on Twitch, where you can find me @officiallyodie. I am a streamer, I am a TikTok creator, a podcast host, and a world builder. I'm also a lover of Pokemon, both Pokemon cards and games, and I'm trying to get back into a bit of voice acting now too, so keep an eye out for that as well. But before we end the show, we want to say thank you once again to our amazing editor at @entity__edits, aka Lavendor, where you can find all her stuff and all her inquiries, commissions, all her profiles. Please go show her love and support at @entity__edits on Blue Sky, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok.
And then our logo was made by our lovely artist Toby.exe. You can find him at Toby.dot exe on TikTok, Blue Sky, and YouTube. And then over on Instagram, _Toby.exe_ would be where you can find him.
Can we get Toby to draw the demigods? Or at least one of them. Can we talk Toby about that?
I would that would be so cool.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
He would have a field day.
He would have so much fun.
He would hate us for the transparency, I think, in the courts.
Oh yeah, he'd kill us.
He'd want to fucking ruin us. But, you know, it'd be fun.
The amount of art that we could commission, like the fucking different, the animals that we world builds, like the fucking...
We're going to go broke, dude.
We're going to have so much fun. We're going to have no money.
It's going to be great.
But before we hop off, just to let you know, if you want more information about Worlds Apart, including new releases, short-form content, highlights, things like that, you can follow us at Worlds Apart TTRPG over on YouTube, of course, which is the best place to watch the podcast, Blue Sky, Instagram, and TikTok.
Hell yeah.
All right.
All right, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye, bye, bye.